Have you ever stopped to think about how small humans really are? People often contemplate our existence in the universe, but a lot of people would be surprised to find out that there is a location on Earth that is almost as unexplored as outer space, and that is the Mariana Trench, located in the Pacific Ocean. The trench is approximately 5 times the length of the Grand Canyon. It averages 43 miles wide, and it is 7,044 feet deeper than Mount Everest is tall. According to Becky Oskin, the trench at the bottom measures 8 tons of pressure per square inch, which is equivalent to about 1,000 times the pressure at sea level. This graphic shows the tallest mountains, some of the tallest mountains on Earth. Mount Everest is this one right here, and then this is the trench in comparison. It's much deeper than any of the mountains. The trench is located east of the Mariana Islands, and it's near Guam, which the islands are right in this area, and the trench is along this crest. There are many different types of formations and organisms and other animals that are in the trench that have adapted to the high pressure and freezing temperature that is the environment. The amphipod Hirundelia gigas is a shrimp-like creature. It has, according to the Public Library of Science, adapted an aluminum and carbon exoskeleton, which allows it to live in the very bottom of the trench and survive the pressure and the temperature. Along with other microbial organisms, there are animals and also formations such as volcanoes. These volcanoes aren't like the normal volcanoes that we usually think of. Instead of smoke and lava, they have sulfur and liquid carbon dioxide. These chemicals change the chemistry in the bottom of the trench and compared to other parts of the ocean. And that's one of the reasons why the animals are so different, and because they're adapted to this as well as the pressure. Besides the chemicals that are naturally found there, in recent studies there have been organisms that have been found to have pesticides that were used between the 1930s and the 1970s, and they were banned in the 70s because of their negative effect on the environment. They were dumped in the ocean and other waterways, and even though the trench is so untouched by humans, there have still been large amounts of these pesticides found in the bottom of the trench and in the organisms in the trench. So humans have had an impact on it even though we're so far away from it. One type of fish that dominates the food chain in the Mariana Trench is the Pseudoliparus sweari. It's also known as the Mariana snailfish. It's a fairly small fish, but it survives mainly because of the lack of predators, and so it just has free range of all the food that it can eat. It's not the typical predator because it's fairly small. We usually think of predators as sharks or big fish like that, but the snailfish is much smaller. This fish, along with most of the organisms and other animals that live in the Mariana Trench, this has no pigment, but most of the animals are translucent because there's no light at all in the bottom of the trench. So there's no need for them to have any color or camouflage. The Mariana snailfish is the deepest fish that has ever been caught, and it was caught at 26,000 feet into the trench. Other organisms have been seen on video footage in the trench below this level, but none have ever been caught. In an article in the Genes Academic Journal, it is stated that this fish has an adapted sense of smell. Instead of, like humans, mammals, and other fish and creatures in the ocean, we smell with chemoreceptors. This fish uses amine receptors because of the lack, there's no light, and because the chemicals in the trench are so different than the chemicals in other places, it uses amine receptors to smell for its prey. The adaptations of these fish and creatures, along with the formations that are found nowhere else on Earth, are some of the things that make this trench very interesting. And next time you're contemplating our existence or how small we are, you might want to think about how small, how there's something on the Earth that is much more unexplored.